Hey, are you a working professional and want to do professional certifications or want to learn some professional courses so that you can get ahead in your career? Or even you are a student who just want to get better grades in your exams? Watch this video because in this video, I'm going to give you 4 best tips that you can use to get the maximum out of your learning sessions. But before that, be sure to subscribe to Siva RP YouTube channel. In this channel, I'll be sharing my insights on self-help. When it comes to studying, always the small things and the little things matter. Perhaps you might be wondering that you don't have 3 hours, 4 hours time daily to study or learning a new course or doing that professional certification that is so important for your career. But little things do matter. For instance, planning well about when is the best time to study and where should you study and how long should you study. Knowing answers to these questions will help you to get the maximum out of your learning project. Learning should not be considered as something that you should left out when you leave the college, and if you are working as a professional, that is something that you have to pursue. But if you see, many professionals hate learning and they don't learn anything. Whether you believe it or not, every single day you are learning something. Probably it is not the thing that you should be learning. When you go and chat with your colleagues, you're learning something. When you scroll on social media aimlessly, you're learning something. But is that something that is actually contributing to your career growth? You got to ask yourself. So, when you plan in advance and if you focus on those things and understand what is the value that you're going to get from that particular activity, you will realize. So, if you schedule things systematically, then you'll be able to understand the value. So, if you understand what is the value of learning, perhaps you might be watching. The very reason why you're watching this video could be you want to learn better. That's really a good thing. And now let's go and try to figure out these 3 basic questions: when, where, and how long. If you ask me, what is the best time to study? I've tried learning in the morning and tried learning things in the afternoon and the evening. Based on the research I have done and my personal experience and various people I have observed personally, I found early hours or during the day is the best time to study. Perhaps it might be a little bit of counterintuitive, but you might be thinking that why don't I study in the evening time? I have a long hours of time. Let me give you a few points as we go further, and you will understand why studying late at night is not the best thing to do. But perhaps many working professionals or the student think that once you complete your working day or work day or college day, and you have enough time in the long, it's as if you seem like you have a long time, in the night time, so you can concentrate 2 hours, 4 hours, 2 to 4 hours in the night time for studying. But that's not the case. You are most effective by the time when you wake up, by the time you have dinner. Perhaps between the time, probably you might wake up at 6 or 7, or if you are waking up at 10 or 11, probably there is something wrong. The way you walk, the way you study, the way you live your life. So ideally, from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. is the time which is more effective. So ideally you should study in the morning time or any learning project in the morning time or before the time you take the dinner. So if you don't have time in the morning time, perhaps you are stuck up, so probably you can spread out the schedule throughout the day. For instance, if you are a student, if you are attending the lectures and in between if you have a time, maybe 10 minutes, 30 minutes, 50 minutes, find a place where you can isolate yourself and start studying. You can do that. Or if you are a professional, you have to find time in between your important task and start spending time on your learning goals. Never leave your learning goals up to late in the evening. You know what? The task that never gets done is the one which is the last in the to-do list. So don't keep learning or reading as the last in your to-do list. You're now going to do it. So perhaps many people think that night time is long. So as I told, night time is not long because the moment you have dinner, the moment generally you have only few hours left after a long day of activity. Chances of you getting doing that and your mind one way or the other focusing or preparing you to sleep, then you will not be able to concentrate much. Perhaps you might be wondering, so you know what, I've been surfing on social media. Yes, you can surf on the social media because you are not doing any cognitive work. So on the other hand, if you're actually reading or if you're actually learning something where you have to apply your mind and you have to do the thinking and you have to ask objective questions, chances are you will not be able to do that. But on the other hand, if you're just staring at the screen or scrolling mobile screen, you might wake up. But ask yourself, is that productive? Is that really helping you? Perhaps you have been doing this for 3 months, 6 months, a year now. You can see all the side effects that you got it. Probably you might have lost the control of waking up early. You might have been getting, dark circles at your eyes, or perhaps your eyes is literally blinking excessively. Perhaps you might check out my previous videos where you might observe in excessive blinking because of the continuous walk on the screen. So this is something which you cannot avoid. You have to understand working late in the night is not meant for, especially if you want to learn something. That's not the time to do. And on the other hand, what you're doing by doing this activity is you're actually missing some prime time in the night time. Night time is basically meant for socializing, and many people want to socialize. For instance, you are a single guy. This is the time you have to go out and interact with your future girlfriend. Or on the other hand, if you're a family guy, you have to, generally your family expects to spend time with you in the night. The moment you have the dinner, they want to talk with you and spend some quality time, or maybe that's the time you should relax and you have some fun, maybe spend the time. And if you try to put that time as learning project, probably you're not going to achieve. You're not going to give justice to that. And most importantly, what you have to understand is nighttime is meant to relax. So after you have done a lot of long day of work or attending the college or school, studying in the nighttime is not going to give. So by the time you reach 7 or 8, your concentration level are very low. Perhaps you might open an office laptop and start replying to email. Maybe perhaps you might, as I told, you might watch screen related activities or maybe watching some movies and other things. But something as productive as reading, and where you have to use your cognizance and in order to use your mind actively in order to do the active reading. So you can do some passive reading. Perhaps don't expect anything out of that. So if you're planning to read at the night time, remember that it's not going to help you except for sleeping. So that's a good way. If you want to get a sleep, you just can use a dim light where it can make your eyes a little bit strained, and start reading a boring book or any book that's not, you'll just get into sleep. And especially on lying on the bed. On the other hand, if you want to do the active reading, you have to use during the daytime. If you have morning time, that's good. And if you don't have morning time, plan a spread out schedule. So tell me, each and every day, what are you doing since morning to evening? Is there your boss sitting beside you, or your teacher or lecturer sitting behind you that 10 hours of time continuously? That's not the case. So, but in between, whenever we have valuable time, what we generally do, we chit chat with the friends and our colleagues, and none of those communications are really going to help you to get anything in your life. If you ask me what's the best time, it is early or during the day, but not during the late night, not the night time. Do not plan. You're not going to get much out of your learning sessions. Today, we are living in a world of distractions. And if you want to get most out of your learning session, you got to isolate yourself. So, where you have to study, anything that can isolate you, and anything that can isolate you from general distractions and the people, is the best place to study. If you're a student, identify some good places in your university or the college where generally in a library where you have less crowd. Or if you're a working professional, identify a dedicated room for your work in your home. Or if you're in office, try to find out some place. And if you are someone who's have a dedicated cabin, that's well and good. And make sure that your team will not disturb in a certain period of time. And if you don't have, try to book a conference room or meeting room and spend at least a couple of hours daily on your learning goals. Remember this. Generally, professionals will have a tendency that if you are learning something, they are not working. That is one of the stupidest mindset that you can have. The moment you started learning in office, and your employer is the one who is going to get the most benefit, because the more you know, the better you're able to do the job. So perhaps you might be wondering, so why, how will it is possible? I need to talk to my, and there are some organizations which encourages open office culture where you will sit the entire floor open and all the people are talking to each other. But if you practically look at, in many instances, the collaborative work doesn't require you to be available 24/7, and at least 9-10 hours which you are available in the office, that's not going to be required. Collaborative work, whenever you require to think creatively, or perhaps when you require to have interaction or collaboration, you can have a meetings and discuss those things. And otherwise, if you're working in isolation and if you're trying to complete a task, the chances that you will have more concentration and you'll be able to complete your work, and with that increased concentration, you will do it faster. On the other hand, imagine when you're completing a particular task and your colleague comes in between and asks you a question, and by the time you're trying to do that, some other person comes and raises an request. The work that you are doing, you have to leave. And so multitasking seems like you're doing so many things. Perhaps you tend to do many things which are not directly contributing to your professional growth, or if you're a student, to your academic goals. So you have to identify what is most important for you. In other words, simply quarantine yourself and create a learning bunker or a study bunker. Perhaps you might have heard a veteran, if you are a veteran, you'll be able to relate that, no, whenever the soldier is going into a bunker, you will say that, soldier, we are all counting on you. Good luck. Right? Which contributes, which also denotes that how much important is that work. So when you isolate yourself, and perhaps you can even relate this in your corporate career. When someone is sitting in a conference and doing and putting in headphones, the other person is coming in, just open the door and see, okay, I'm not disturbing, going away. So can you understand how importance people give to the meeting? And the reality is 80 to 90% of the meetings are worthless. And people come to the meeting without any agenda and trying to figure out things there without having an objective. Whenever you have many unnecessary things, and if you're someone who's responsible in charge, schedule a meeting on a recurring basis and assign the task and review the work progress and allot your learning goals so that you will constantly grow yourself. If you are someone who want to do the professional certification, this is the best way to schedule your time. Do not underestimate the power of isolation strategy. And initially, when you started implementing for a week or two or perhaps month, you seem like you're not doing much work, but you're doing the most important work. So when you're doing multitasking, you seem like accomplishing many things. Perhaps if you are an administrative executive or an administrative assistant, perhaps you might require to do multitasking. But on the other hand, if you're someone who's responsible for creating value and who's responsible for working in long-term objectives, perhaps you need to think as a scheduling strategy much better way. So if you don't have time, spread out, and you must study in an environment, because the environment that you are in, that you are working or studying matters a lot. Every mentee who has cleared our certification programs, they followed some kind of isolation strategy. If you not agree with what I'm trying to say, just do this for the next 1 week and 1 month. Just note down each and every activity that you do for every hour and try to analyze after a week or after a month. And all those activities that you have done are really worth to you. Are they really directly contributing to your growth or your organizational goals that has been set by your management? Perhaps 70 to 80% of the tasks that you might be doing are not at all related. But just because you are in an open environment, everyone is just asking, so you might be doing. But remember this thing also, whatever in front of you will become prioritized. Say for instance, that might not be important thing, but if just because available, your colleague comes and asks you, that will become important. So you start spending your time. Perhaps it might not be contributing to you in any manner or any contribution to your goals. Or on the other hand, you are studying and one of your classmate or college mate comes to you and trying to interact with you, then obviously you cannot avoid. So isolation while you are completing your learning project is one such best strategy that you must use. So the third question that I want to answer, how long should you study? There are various strategies people might be applying, and perhaps you might have heard Pomodoro techniques, like you read for 25 minutes, then 5 minutes break, then 25 minutes. But studies also have shown that if you're studying beyond 2 hours continuously without a break, probably you're not retaining much. So anything beyond 1 hour is not recommended without a break. So You can study at max maybe 40 minutes, 50 minutes, but if you're studying just in a stretch like 1.5 hour or 2 hours, maybe some people will be able to stretch up to 1.5 hour, but ideal time is not more than 1 hour without a break. So maybe you can take 5 to 10 minutes break after that, and you can start preparing. So if you're a professional doing the learning project, maybe during that 10 minutes break, you can start replying to quick emails or responding to other things. And ideally, after doing couple of hours of learning project, then you can start whatever you learned, you can start implementing in your job. So the best thing what you can do as a professional, you can learn and do. But as a student, you can only learn and write the exam, get the scores. You will not have any experience. But unfortunately, our stupid education system, by the time you complete your graduation or post-graduation, will make sure that you hate studying. So this is the worst thing which we cannot avoid. So you have to develop a beautiful relationship with your learning goals. If you don't develop, chances are you are thinking that you are working a lot, but you are not going to grow. And another important thing that you have to keep in mind is you will get accomplished more when you're taking regular breaks rather than you're stretching 8 hours, 12 hours continuously. Your energy levels will drop and you will develop unhealthy habits. Perhaps I've seen some colleagues who don't take lunch, and as if they're showing that they're even walking during lunchtime, and they boast as if they're dedicated professionals. What the heck are they doing is they're actually spoiling their health, and they're spoiling the environment and the culture of the organization. And I've seen with this my own eyes. And what the kind of message are they trying to tell? They're trying to say that they're working hard, so hard. But are they really working productive? That is something that you have to really ask yourself. So if you try to read or learn, not only learning project, or even if you're trying to do on anything continuously without any break, so your productivity will automatically decrease. So not necessarily that you have to go on half an hour and do chit chat. Just quick break of 5 minutes, just 5 minutes quick break and refreshing, have drinking water, just or strolling a small stall, then coming back and walk. You will be able to improve a lot. If you are a working professional who want to do some professional certifications or courses for the betterment of your career, or if you are a student who want to get some good grades in your exams, make sure that you study early. And ideally, if you can wake up early, maybe 6 or 5, depending on your schedule, or 6 or at max 7, depending on, at least you can spare a couple of hours before you actually starting your office, work, or college or school. You'll be able to study at least a couple of hours in the morning. So that's a great thing. On the other hand, if it is something which is not feasible, try to spread out the schedule throughout your day. Do some important work, and during that, don't tell me that you don't have time. If you plan out well, and if you really track the time that you're spending in every day, in every week, you have time where you will interact with your colleagues, chit chat, or discuss things which are not really important, or you might be doing unnecessary travel. So if that's the case, just put some audio program, and while you're traveling to office, you just listen it. So you got to spend time, you got to plan and schedule your learning throughout the day. So you are working important tasks and you're also improving. So that's the best way. Perhaps you might be wondering, so Bill Gates, keep reading, and Warren Buffett keep reading. I don't have any direct access, but why are those people? And perhaps you have heard this quote, a CEO. I'm not sure how much true is it, and perhaps I have I've just read from various sources. A CEO reads for 50 books a year. Why are they doing all those things? Are they students? If as a company CEO, is he spending majority of his time on only reading books? So why is he doing that? Because when he learns many things, based on his experience, he will be able to apply some of the concepts. Yes, maybe 10 years, 15 years, or 20 years of experience. The moment when he gather new information, by mixing his own experience, new information, he come up with a unique idea, and which he will be able to implement is in organization. So since he has a lot of stuff, he will get the job done by them. So if you want to grow to the next level, you must have your learning projects implemented in your working day. If you want to really grow to the next level, you must implement your learning strategy during the day. If you want to grow in your career, or if you want to get good grades, you have to implement the learning strategy throughout your day. Don't leave it up to night time. So perhaps depending on your thing, you can plan 25 into 5 minutes break or 50 minutes into 10 minutes break. Anything you do, plan in advance. At least plan a work week, not work day. So when you start planning to-do list for the day, you will lose the bigger picture. And if you are really good in planning, plan for a month or plan for a quarter. And you will be surprised to know how many professionals who are at the lower level or professionals who are not growing, when you ask them, what will you be doing in the next week on so and so date, they have no plan. They will come to the office and start doing activities in as if things are happening, and they're just reacting to them. So planning in ahead will help you. So at least weekly plan could give you some insights. As I said, mix the important work and learning throughout the day, and any unnecessary conversations which are not adding in valuable. And if you have subordinates who are coming frequently, you didn't have a management system where you can clarify their thoughts. Your subordinates, perhaps people talk about, we all are working in in an environment, you should be available to team. You can't make everybody to available at every time. So there should be a structure, there should be a timing where, say for instance, you have a huge team that is reporting to you. Make sure that you give your time to your team in a specified slots. They have anything, they will ask you during that period of time, rather than letting them talk at any time and whatever the time they're comfortable asking. That's not. So that way, if you are someone letting that type of culture, probably you'll not be able to be accomplish much, more things, because you are letting interaction. So perhaps what might be important to your colleague might not be important for you, or from a bigger perspective that might not be important. So you can schedule a team review meeting depending on daily or twice in a week, and you can clarify all those things and let them handle their responsibility. Let them learn. That's the only way they can learn and they can grow. If you want to get maximum out of your learning goals, or perhaps if you are interested in reading, you can read books, or if you're someone not comfortable in reading, you can simply listen to audiobooks. The best time to learn anything is early, or perhaps during the day, but not at the night time. And isolation, obviously, isolation is the better strategy that you can apply, and try to take the breaks. Don't stretch more than an hour, and plan your week in advance so that you'll be able to get a bigger picture of what you want to accomplish in that week. Perhaps when you do these things, it seems like some urgent things you'll not be able to do, but not all those urgent things are really worth doing. Thanks for watching. I hope the information in this video is useful. If you like the information in this video is useful, give a thumbs up and share with your friends. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, subscribe now and also hit the notification bell. Let me know your thoughts from the comment section below. Also, let me know what videos you want me to make in the future in self-help domain. This is Siva RP signing off until we meet again in the next video.